and Sid Show.
Guaranteed to be enormously successful.
It's about truth, the damn truth, New York's truth, the truth behind the BS. For New York, nothing at all in between. This is Bernard McGurk.
So Bernie.
This is Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
Bernie and Sid.
77 WABC.
Woo!
Back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC. And let's get right to it. On the line with us right now is the former Massachusetts senator, a Donald Trump supporter also, by the way. He's been named actually in a lawsuit. They alluded to him. He's not a defendant or anything like that, but he was named in the lawsuit as having done some stuff that is totally false. In any case, Senator Scott Brown joins us on the Bernie and Sid Show. Good morning, Senator Brown.
Hey, good morning to you and your listeners.
Hey, before we get to the good morning, Senator. Before we get to that, whatever happened to your senator from Massachusetts, Liz Warren, Pocahontas? Did they put a muzzle on her all of a sudden? You don't hear from her anymore after she was.
Kurt Schilling said he may run against her, and that's kind of had to calm down a little bit. So,
all right.
And then obviously Trump's ignored her, so she doesn't have any. There's no banter back and forth. He's not taking the bait finally, which is appropriate because she's really got not much to say.
Right.
Kurt Schilling actually said that in here because we pressed him on running for president in 8 years. He's like, nah, I didn't mean president. I meant locally in Massachusetts. He lives there, obviously, in your state. Right.
He's well-loved. And they'll say, oh, well, he had a bankruptcy with his studio, 38 studios. Well, you know what? Put his time, effort, money, signed on the dotted line, his reputation on the line to try to create jobs in business. Didn't have to. Had an idea. It didn't work out. And he obviously filed bankruptcy and is paying the price for it. And if that's all they got against him, then I'll vote for him every time.
All right, Scott, before we get to the Tanatros stuff and really the reason you're coming on today, Trump having, I guess, a decent week. I think he's went up 1 point, whatever it is. After a disastrous couple of weeks, the immigration speech coming up, he seems to be hammering home the Clinton email scandal. Again, another 15,000 emails. The Clinton Foundation, the quid pro quo, play for pay, all that stuff. Seems to be where Trump is going these days. Listen, the question's very simple. We know you're a Trump supporter. We know you want him to win. Is it going to be enough? Bottom line, Scott, is it going to be enough?
Well, that's up to the voters. If they're continuing to think that Hillary's being honest when she says she released all the emails, there's nothing there to see, and we got another 15,000. Now we're finding that all of the there's emails and correspondence between donors and getting meetings and access at the State Department. If that's what they want, if that's what people want, then no, he's not going to win. But I think he's been on message. He had a bad week, and I said it before. He has unforced errors that are just killing him. He needs to stay on message, and he needs to focus on not our party, not Paul Ryan, not anyone else, but he needs to focus on Hillary Clinton, and draw the distinctions between him and her. And I think when you talk about terror and trade and the economy and trustworthiness, ultimately people will say, you know what, I just don't trust her. I don't like her. She's doesn't represent who I am, and they'll make a decision.
Right. So, yeah, it's early. It's early on. He had a slide in the polls, but I think Trump is on an upswing right now, Senator Brown. I think he's coming back. He's more disciplined, although I like the unteleprompter Trump myself. However, I know he has to do what he has to do, and you're a supporter. Now, let's move on to this lawsuit. And let me set it up, Senator Brown. We had this musician on from Jane's Addiction. His name is Dave Navarro on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, sure. Dave, yeah.
So we talked to Dave, and I asked him about his there were these reports that he was dating Andrea Tanatros, and he goes, he copped an attitude. He says, why are you asking me about people I never dated? Ask me questions about people I don't even know, I never dated, et cetera, et cetera. And we thought he was being a blank hole for his attitude. It turns out, according to sources, that he never met this Andrea Tanatros who claimed that she was dating him. And then that night, the lawsuit was revealed. Yesterday, it unfolded some of the details, and you were actually named in it. She said that you made some sexually inappropriate comments to her on the set, and that she would be fun to go to a nightclub with, et cetera, et cetera. And also that you snuck up behind her at the Fox cafeteria, you put your hands on her waist, and you say what to that, Scott Brown?
I say, I thought yesterday when they were calling me, the reporters, that I said to myself, boy, what did Donald Trump do now? and then when they said, no, this is about you and the lawsuit with Fox, I'm like, what lawsuit with Fox? So I had no clue. This allegedly happened a year ago, and I forwarded to you the show. And I know you have it, and you guys, I think, have actually watched the show in which she's referring to the alleged, inappropriate comments. And I would ask that you post that and let people judge for themselves.
As a matter of fact, we're going to play it right now.
Yeah, we have it. We're going to play it. Play this, Senator Scott Brown. This is what he's talking about.
This is Senator Brown talking with Andrea Tanatros on the show, Fox News show.
And this is the show that she's referring to that made her upset.
Right. This is Outnumbered, and this is the show, yes. And at the end, you'll hear Senator Scott Brown say, wow, to, anyway, take a listen.
You have been asked about,
of course I have.
You posed naked for Cosmo.
But yes, thank you.
You were butt naked.
Yeah, you didn't see anything, though.
Okay.
This is uncomfortable.
Cosmo. It was Cosmo.
Were you asked about it? We're going to ask the senator if he would ever do Playgirl. And is asking students...
There you hear. He said, wow. By the way, that's posted on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, at Bernie said, WABCRadio.com.
See, I want to ask you this, Scott. At any point after that then, or at any point, did Andrea say anything to you, even allude, even intimate that she was aggravated and or felt disrespected that day? At all?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, we left, and that was one of the better shows. We talked about women in the military. We talked about a whole host of issues, and that was a great show. People got to understand, we never see the top talent until they walk on the set, and everything we do is on set. So if she's alleging that this happened on the set, well, that would have been in front of 25 people, because you have 5 makeup artists, 5 cameramen, 5 sound people, and then you have the floor techs and the photo tech people. So what she's alleging, and that clip that I encourage people to watch was actually towards the second part of the show. That was the end of the second part of the show. And not only is she inquiring about me and what I did when I was 22 years old, continuing, and you heard Harris say, boy, you're making us uncomfortable, Andrea. I was very uncomfortable with her line of badgering towards me. So no,
which comes through.
Yeah.
I was never alone. We're never alone. Never. And in the cafeteria, there's 75 to 100 people in this cafeteria. You don't sneak up on anybody.
Right.
It's a year ago, and since then I've not only signed a new contract, got a raise. I'm on almost every day. I just left appearing on Fox. I'm on every day, and the first I'm hearing about this is yesterday from a reporter.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I mean, and you also, Dean Kane is on there, John Roberts. I'll give you an example. So one of the reporters, I think it was John Roberts or somebody, said, have you saved your eggs? Well, if you remember correctly, it was Sophia Varga and her husband were battling about, the reproductive rights or embryos and whether, who owned them. And I'm sure that was a segment on that particular topic. So
right, Sofia Vergara actually was the subject of that topic, and I can attest, by the way, to if you made those comments on set, you're all wired up. Everybody can hear you. I've been the quote unquote one lucky guy many times.
I would have been fired immediately.
Absolutely, and it would have been recorded, and everybody in the building would have heard it. All the technicians in the background. So it's impossible that you could have done that. But of
even
course,
when we're not live, we're being taped.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So look, just what do you think? And I know that it's only speculation, but what do you think is the motive? I mean, by just it's like a drive-by with you. I mean, why did she just?
I read it's a good question. I read the complaint. My wife and I sat down and kind of read it. Finally, someone gave us a copy, and it's not to the very end where you say, well, what's up? Like, what's she looking for? Where's the claim here? And the basis of it is she had a book, she wrote a book, she did it in violation of a contract allegedly. The Fox wouldn't allow her to promote the book on TV. They didn't renegotiate her contract. She didn't get an assistant. So there were a lot of inside baseball things that I have no privy to, all management stuff that has nothing to do with me. And she was trying to portray an atmosphere,
culture.
Type of
That's
collegial, frat boy atmosphere, right. And reciting various episodes on Outnumbered is to say, you know what, I did, this is what happened, and no one did anything about it. Well, no one spoke to me. I wasn't fired. I had actually Bill Shine call my house yesterday and say, listen, Scott's one of our best employees. This is not true. I was never approached. I was never asked to take him off any shows. As a matter of fact, he's on more shows than probably any of our contributors because he's so highly sought after.
I think Scott, you're an easy target. You're a good-looking guy. You're a friendly guy. So when she mentions you, it's like, oh, Scott Brown, that good-looking politician. He probably did do something. But I'll ask you this.
Of course. I've been down that train before as a public figure, down the road before as a public figure who's been married for 30 years, who was aware of the Dutcher mentality. I am always keenly aware of what I do and say, keenly aware.
Right. Well, that's my point. I mean, Scott, aren't you pissed? Because at the end of the day, when she throws your name into this mix, right? You're married. You got a wife. What if God forbid your wife gets upset or there's a fight in the Brown house?
She was upset. Yeah, she was upset until Bill called the house and basically assured her that this is the first he's hearing about it. And no truth to the innuendo regarding me, and that was her only concern. And yeah, listen, I'm pissed. I'm a little flabbergasted, that I'm kind of caught in the struggle between the talent and management that somehow, to try to back up her claim somehow that I somehow fit into it. Or Dean Cain, Superman, is in there too. John Roberts, these incredible, great guys who are very, established, also brought in. Kind of interesting.
It is, and it's the worst kind of slander. And once cleared, the cloud kind of lingers and makes you as Ray Donovan did, the Secretary of Labor under Ronald Reagan. He said, "Where do I go to get my reputation back once you're cleared?" Because I mean, it's a horrible, horrible thing. But as I said earlier at the beginning here, this Dave Navarro guy, I think that's very telling. That little episode there between her and him. Again, that they never even met, and she put out the rumor that they're dating, et cetera, et cetera. So
the good news is, guys, is that tapes don't lie, and it's right there for everybody to see how it went in the show. And if she was so upset, boy, you wouldn't know it because the way she's kind of badgering and poking fun at me and my past. So
yeah. So listen, let's move on. Look, and we wish you well there, and
you'll be fine.
People believe you. We believe you.
We believe
everybody on your side. Yeah, and you're a good American hero who served the nation in the National Guard for 30 years, and you're going to be back in office, maybe serving in a Trump administration at some level. I hope.
It's up to the voters.
That's true. Now, let me just ask you quickly about Trump's softening on his tough immigration stance. He actually told Sean Hannity last night he's going to soften his position on it, presumably not going through with these proposed deportations. What do you think about this sort of what people are calling a flip-flop?
Yeah, I don't think it's a flip-flop at all. He's also indicated that he wants the law to be followed, and if people followed the law, we wouldn't be in this position. And that's not just the Obama administration. That's past administrations as well. There's plenty of blame to go around. And I'm not sure what he's specifically referring to, but I know for a fact he's going to build the wall, and Mexico is going to pay for it, either through deferred payments from what we give them in aid, or increasing fees for people coming back and forth into our country, or some type of other arrangements. I also know that he's going to make sure that we get all the illegals out of here who have criminal records and who have been released by this administration, going to get them on the first plane out of here. When it comes to others that may have humanitarian issues, or they were here rightly and then made a mistake, overstayed. There may be a process to allow that fixed, but they need to go in the back of the line. And while that happens, they're not going to get any benefits at all over our citizens. That's my understanding of his position.
Scott, let's break this down honestly here, okay? He talks about this thing being rigged. It is. I mean, let's face it. Hillary Clinton wakes up with the Electoral College, but she just wakes up without doing anything. That's what the thing is all about, the Electoral College, not about polls and all that nonsense. And she's got a huge edge to begin with. And if any of these polls are right, if they're right, and he's polling this badly with Latinos, with African Americans, with women, let's be honest. How's he going to do this? How is he going to forget about immigration, forget about whether she's crooked Hillary, just on the numbers, Scott? How is he going to do this?
It's certainly a daunting task, and the hope is that you'll have these Reagan Democrats and people have been so disenfranchised over decades that they're going to come out and be heard once again. And there's a lot of hopefully Brexit-type comments. Hey, you support us leaving,
right.
European Union? Oh, no, absolutely. And then they get off the phone and say, yeah, hell yeah, we're going to get out.
Damn right.
I'm hoping there's some of that stuff as well. And I thought he hit it on the head the other day when he was addressing the African-American community. Like, what did you get to lose?
Right.
The African-American and Latino community is doing so wonderfully under this administration where they don't allow school choice. They're basically getting handouts instead of hand-ups and opportunities to go out and work and make a great living. That's what this is about. And so I'm hopeful that when it comes right down to it, you still have, a little over 70 days left and that they'll continue to stay on message and continue to have people understand that there is a choice out there. And if you don't like him per se, Governor Pence is a great guy. He's doing a great job, and he's going to surround himself with wonderful people that will help, get our country back on track. That's my belief.
You're right about that. And by the way, that's his appeal to most of us. What the hell do we all have to lose by giving them a shot? I say nothing. And Reagan and Bush 41 were behind at this point in the race and went on to win. Scott Brown from Massachusetts, former Senator Scott Brown, we thank you for coming on the Bernie and Sid show.
Yes.
Hey, guys. Good to hear you.
You too, Scott.
A pleasure. A good man, Scott Brown on Bernie and Sid. Back after this.